never forget this. On your road to success, you are sure to have some doubters and some people that are going to come your way to give you an ounce of discouragement to try to get you off your path. But if you can remember, there is a coliseum of success waiting for you if you don't give up, if you will persevere, and if you will push through all of that. So with that said, let me take you to the place that we're at today and show you and reveal to you where we're at. I want to tell you, I don't want to tell you, but I want to tell you, and I want to continue to tell you about the journey that I had in regards to learning this whole grant writing thing. As I told you, I got into a program, and as I got into the program that I got into will allow me to learn a lot more than just about grants. And that's why with a lot of the trainings that we offer and that I'm sharing, it's more of a well comprehensive type of approach, because to really get funded, it's more than just writing a proposal. There's a whole best practices of grant writing, but there's also the best practices of fundraising. And so when you pull all that together, it becomes a really powerful mix. Now, have you figured out yet where I'm at? I'm going to give you a clue. Let me give you a clue real quickly, because this may help you to get a glimpse, and then I'll show you exactly where I'm at. I already told you a little earlier that the red shirt hopefully could give a clue to kind of where I was at, but maybe you didn't catch that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit right behind where I'm at, and maybe from there you can let me know what you think. Okay, that doesn't quite reveal it, but you can you see these flowers? Does that give a clue? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Ladies and gentlemen, I am at the one and only granddaddy of them all. You know what this place is? It's the Rose Bowl. It's the Rose Bowl, okay? And I've seen some incredible games here. I was actually here when Vince Young played against Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart when they competed, and USC versus Texas is an awesome game. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on, because it was just such an awesome experience. But back to the grant thing. As related to learning about grants, I went through this experience, and the experience that I had was I got into the class and I started applying the information. Now, while I was getting ready to take the course and take the training, I had some people, and let me tell you what he said. He told me this. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you learning grants? Why are you trying to do things in this whole grant area? And needless to say, it wasn't the most encouraging words. And I had a number, not just one experience, I had a number of experiences where people were kind of questioning me about, hey, what I was wanting to do. And sometimes these people are well-intentioned. They're not trying to be mean most of the time. You have some that are trying to be hurtful. But I think the people that were talking to me and saying, hey, why are you doing this? I think they were well-intentioned, but were off. And that's where you've got to really trust your gut. I felt like, hey, this is what I was supposed to be doing, so I decided to go for it. And I'll tell you more about what one lady told me a while back, if I can remember to share that with you. But so I decided to just kind of jump in this journey. So now I'm going and I'm in this class and I'm enjoying it. I am loving it, because now I'm learning firsthand more about those numerous mistakes that I was making, and not just learning about the mistakes. It's one thing to know the mistakes. It's another thing to be at a place where you can start fixing the mistakes. And so now I was at a place where I can start fixing the mistakes and making the adjustments and going at it. And after having those weeks of doing this program, I did my program online and had a great professor who was very thorough and gave good information. And so this was, again, kind of the early stage of online classes. And with it being so new, a lot of the professors at the time were not doing video-based learning. And so I was fortunate that there were a few audio pieces that I was able to glean from him in the training. And that was really helpful. So going through that experience though allowed me to see what the online learning part was like, and I was able to kind of see what I liked and what I didn't like. But I'm going through this training, I'm learning, and I'm going through, and I finish my grant writing class. And as I'm doing it, I'm really grasping the concept, and I went all in and started reading the books that were recommended, and got some great insight from some books where these people that have written some of these books, like Bev Browning's book, Grant Writing for Dummies, was very helpful for me. We went through a couple of other books that were requirements, and these people that had insight and information, I was able to learn from them and glean from multiple sources. My professor, his insight was valuable for me because he kind of mentored me along in the process, and he was doing it as a business, and I was able to journey with him and learn from his experience through it as well. So now I'm learning in the classroom, I'm learning from the various textbooks, I'm learning through putting meat and teeth into actually doing the stuff, and it was great. My very first proposal that I did was a mock proposal, I never forget, for the Boys and Girls Club. And I decided to do my mock proposal for the Boys and Girls Club because I had been so impacted as a young person by this organization, and this organization was very instrumental in my growth and development as a youth. So I said, let me do a program centered around the Boys and Girls Club. So I developed this program. I never forget, it was called Mentoring Through the Arts, and I took the information there and I put together this proposal, and it came out really good. And so now I'm doing these programs, and eventually the programs started getting funded. And my professor comes to me and say, hey, he says, have you ever thought about doing this as a career? And to be honest with you, that was the farthest thing from my mind. I wasn't thinking about doing this as a career. I was thinking about doing this from the mindset of writing something and getting funded. That's what I was thinking. I just want to get funded, okay? And from there, it ended up being that seed that he planted in me, it ended up sprouting. Now, let me tell you how it sprouted, because it came about in an unusual way. I was not thinking about doing Grant Central USA. I was not thinking about doing this Grant Writers Association. I was not thinking about going around training people literally all over our nation. That was the farthest thing from my mind. I was simply thinking about how can I get funded for my program. But what happened was this. Now I have 2 master's degrees, okay? Well, I had one at the time, but I was working on my 2nd master's degree. And as I was working on the 2nd master's degree, Master's of Business Administration and Nonprofit Management, I'm in the process now of moving forward, and I was in transition from one career into another career or another job, and I started going into looking for work. Now, let me tell you what happened before that happened. When I was making the transition into really doing this, I had one place that I had told, hey, listen, I'd like to write a grant for you. And long story short, great organization, great people. But here was what happened. When I asked them, I said, hey, listen, I want to write a grant, and here's some of the areas I'm looking to grow in. Here's some of the economic areas I'm also looking to grow in financially, like a raise. And so they went back and checked, long story short, they went back and checked with the board to see if it was possible. And long story short, the board gave it a thumb down. No, we're not gonna be able to do this. So they made a decision. At that time, I had to make a decision as well, because there were some things that were brewing here, and I had to step out on what I believe. And when I come back, I'm gonna share with you exactly what I did and exactly what happened, and why you can't let other things stop you from doing what you need to do. You gotta be brave, you gotta be bold, you gotta be brilliant. I'll tell you more soon.